Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's post-match press conference. We have US Under-23 men's national team head coach Jason Kreis. Jason, thanks for joining us. Could you give some opening comments on the match?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult match, I think, in a lot of ways. It's very difficult to break down a team that sits so deep. They also played in a completely different shape than we've seen them play ever before. So to have them come out with five backs and sit so deep, I think we had a lot of trouble breaking that down. I think you add into that the fact that I felt our guys were just a little bit too cautious about the affair. I think our guys were more concerned about the transition than they were about creating attacking moments. And those two things add up to not a great performance in the first half. But what we saw in the second half was much improved, and we're pleased to walk out with another 3 points.
Thanks, Jason. First up, we'll take Michela Giannone from Univision. Michela, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, Coach. Congratulations on the victory. Andres was a 6 from the beginning, and we saw Jackson as the game progressed to be more involved in the offensive game. Was that by design, or it was just how the game played at the end? Thank you.
No, yeah, Andres was given the role of the single pivot for us tonight, and I thought he was a player like the rest that took him a while to come into the game really well, but I thought the second half was very positive for him. You know, Jackson was dropping very deep in the first half, as well as Johnny. So I felt like we really had 3 players that were dropping into deep spaces and not occupying high enough spaces. So that was an adjustment we made at the halftime, and I thought it worked well.
Thanks, Michela. Next up, we'll take Jeff Carlisle from ESPN. Jeff, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, Jason. What was the key to kind of getting behind them in the second half? Because it seemed like you were able to find a lot more space out wide in that second 45.
Yeah, I really just felt, as I said from the opening statements, I felt that we were just way too cautious about the game in the first half. I mean, the picture that they were presenting to us was extremely defensive. 5 players in the back, nobody releasing in wide spaces. And both of our fullbacks were extremely hesitant about going forward. So it just didn't add up or make any sense. We needed to get those players really high. We needed to be looking for wide combinations. And we just weren't getting the job done. So for me, it was mostly about positioning, but also about intent and attitude.
Thank you. Next up, we'll take Juan Carlos Megua from the Area Sports Network. Juan Carlos, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on the victory. I wanted to ask about maybe you might be planning some rotations for the game against Mexico, or will you keep the same base given the history behind the game between the United States and Mexico? Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of rotation in this tournament is very interesting, and the idea in this tournament about rotation for us right now is, I don't even know that that's something that makes sense. Because every field player that's here in our roster has now contributed. You know, we had 6 changes to the starting lineup today. So, you know, what is and what is not our best group is to be determined. And these are the decisions that the coaching staff will make because we will want to beat Mexico. We will want to win this group.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. Next up, we'll take Charles Bowen from MLSsoccer.com. Charles, go ahead.
Hey, Jason, congrats on the win. It looked like the build-out was a little different in terms of the 3 central midfielders today and their positioning and their movement and the combinations. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and how many different looks you guys are kind of going through as this tournament unfolds.
Yeah, I think it looked a little different just because of the qualities of the players, the characteristics of Jackson and Johnny Cardoso. You know, I think they both were very quick to want to drop into central spaces to help the build up. When I think, in fact, when we review the video and we show them, we didn't need them there. And, you know, speaking of build up, there was no build up from goalkeeper today because Dominican just immediately dropped into the mid block. So, you know, we didn't have anything really to talk about in that regard until maybe the very end. We had a couple build up plays from goalkeeper, but apart from that, it was just like I said. I think we struggled to find those spaces in between their midfield line and their back line, and because of that, we didn't create enough in the first half.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. We'll take our final question now from Ivis Galarsa. Ivis, go ahead.
Jason, as far as Hassani Dotson goes, he's someone who coming into the tournament, I believe you talked about, some dynamic qualities he brings to the table. In the first game, he almost, he could have had an assist on Ferreira on that one ball, beautiful ball in. Today, he scores the 2 goals. What kind of makes it so dangerous and dynamic?
I think for me, Hassani is a player that's coming into his own. He showed us in January how hungry he was and how he was capable of so many different things as a central midfield player. He showed up to this camp probably fitter than everybody else. He's worked extremely hard. He's had assists and goals in almost every single training session. And so it's really nice to see a player who is coming, I think, in a really good moment and is so hungry to help lead this team and push this team forward. So couldn't be more pleased for the kid.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivis. And thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Jason, we appreciate the time.
Very welcome, guys. Take care.